Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. All the ladies on Real Housewives of Atlanta, from Portia Williams to Phaedra Park. We got Angela over here. We got Kelly Farrell. We got Shamia Morton. Who is all the cast over? Cynthia Bailey. But where are all the Angela fans? Because should we start calling her Angelier? Not Angela, but Angelier. Um, Angela's looking crazy out here, y'all. She's really looking crazy. And like I said, I haven't watched Real Housewives of Atlanta for a while. I didn't watch it last season, so I didn't have any background information on Angelier. And I just knew that when I started watching her this season, she was the queen of reads. Angela could read you up and down. But now, as this season is progressing, I'm starting to realize that Angela might be also the queen of lying. She the queen of lying, y'all. And here's the thing about a person who lies like Angela's lying, that even when they're caught in the lie, they don't give up. They just keep going with it. And they try to gaslight you to believe that you didn't say what you said. No, you said it, Angela. You said it. I know Angela's having problems with her daughter, but I'm kind of understanding a little bit of it now. Angela ain't a safe space. She's not a safe space. And let me tell you, when people are going through things and you're not a safe space, you're not going to be who they open up to. So when Angela, like I said it before, instead of focusing on the fact that her daughter kept a secret about getting married or is a lesbian or whatever the daughter's uncomfortableness is, you need to find out, well, why did she feel comfortable talking to you? Angela's just all in her hurt feelings. I kept saying, Angela, why don't you figure out why your daughter was uncomfortable talking to you? And the way I see Angela deal with people and things, she's not a safe space. She's not. And I wouldn't open up to her either, because you never know when you're going to get hit with one of those daggers. You see, she married to Charles Oakley. How many old heads out there like myself remember Charles Oakley when he was in the league? His nickname was called the Enforcer, y'all. The Enforcer. He was hard. He was out there throwing bodies in the NBA court. And when I think about these two together, maybe being with Charles Oakley over time has also had to harden Angela. Maybe it has. Sometimes when you're with a person who themselves, that they're hard to deal with, or they're tough, or their nickname is the enforcer, you have to develop a skill set, a quick tongue. How do you defend yourself against a mate like that? And so I don't know if Angela was born this way or if this is something she's become over time because who she's married to. He was even kicked out of the Madison Square Gardens. When you banned from a whole stadium, you know what I mean? Yeah, you probably have problems getting along. And I don't know how Angela got here, but Angela, girl, you're not a safe space. And that's why I kind of think she was so triggered by Shamia's statement to her daughter. You see, I kept asking, why is Angela so stuck on bringing down Shamia, right? And part of it, I was thinking, they keep calling Shamia a lapdog of Portia, which has gotten old at this point because they don't even talk. So I don't know how you can keep calling Shamia a lapdog of Portia, even if she was seasons ago. Let's say she was. She's not now because they don't even talk. So for you to keep using that as like a put down, Angela, roof, you're a lapdog, it's starting to kind of, not starting to get flat. It is flat, right? It's flat. And I'm almost believing, Angela, you're a lapdog of Portia, because Portia came in that room. We're going to talk about this little getaway to Scotland. And she told you, it's over, Angela. We're going to dead this right now. Portia came in that room telling Angela what to do, that it was over. And I kept saying, ooh, is Angela about to listen to Portia? Is Portia now the queen of Real Housewives and she gets to decide when shit starts and shit's in? Because she came in there and she said, we decided that this is over, Angela, and you're going to end it because it's going too far. And that was finally when Angela tried to back down slightly. Not all the way. Not all the way. She still had her pride, her ego, but just a little bit. That made me start thinking, Angela, are you doing some of the dirty work for Portia? Because I still don't believe Portia wants Shamia on the show. I don't. I don't. What benefit is it of Portia to have Shamia on the show? She didn't really want her to have a peach years ago. I'm pretty sure of that for whatever reasons, right? So I don't think she wants her on the show now. And she's trying to ice her out. That's why they don't talk. And then she gets, I don't know, maybe she gets her pit bulls like Angela to go in and make up stuff about Shamia because it's really now becoming really dirty and underhanded. I heard Shamia filed a cease and desist against Angela. Good for her. Good for her because it has gone too far. One comment, okay, we'll let it go. But to get back of why I really think, in addition to being the lapdog of Portia Williams, Angela, is that when they showed that clip of Shamia telling her daughter, oh, you're much nicer than your mother. Okay, is that shade? Absolutely, it's shade. Does it could it warrant a comeback from Angela back to Shamia? Absolutely. So that's the stuff where sometimes Shamia believes none of her stuff requires retaliation, and I understand that Shamia feels she's just fighting back. That's fine. That's fine. Well, then it's a fight, which means we can go back and forth. But the depth of where Angela is going now, the degree, and how she's trying to make it seem like that was the issue. Do I think it stung? I do. You know why? Because I think it triggered Angela. Because when Shamia said, you're nicer than your mother, I think what triggered Angela was that her daughter has told her in the past that she's a mean person and she's a bully. You see? So then imagine this between you and your daughter, you're having bad relationships, but your daughter accuses you of being mean and saying nasty things to the point where she doesn't believe you're a safe space. She doesn't share anything with you. And then your mother goes around calling you entitled and spoiled and all this. So the daughter just doesn't like the words that come out of her mother's mouth about her. And then here comes along a woman like Shamia that says, you're much nicer than your mother. What that does is it gives the daughter validation that you're not the problem, it's your mother, right? So what Shamia did, which would really bother uh, Angela even more, was Shamia validated her daughter, even in the fight that Shamia's having with that Angela's having with her daughter, right? So how dare you? I'm fighting with my daughter. How dare you make a comment that validates my daughter's feelings that I'm a mean person, right? And take her side. See, Angela was acting as if leave my daughter out of it. Shamia never said anything bad about her daughter. In fact, she complimented her daughter. So this idea that Shamia is saying Angela came, this idea that Angela is saying Shamia came for her daughter is actually not true. If you think about Shamia's words, Shamia validated her daughter's feelings that her mom is the mean spirited. So what Angela was mad at was not that Shamia came for her daughter. She was mad that Shamia validated her daughter's feelings. And Shamia had no idea what was going on with Angela and her uh, daughter, right? But her words in that moment validated her. And that's what I think Angela's really mad about. I don't think Angela's a safe space. I don't. Just like I don't think her husband is really a safe space. And like I said, I don't know how Angela got here. I don't know if it's been over time. I don't know if it's a result of who she's been married to. But she said that when her mother was alive, her mother had to play mediator between her and her daughter. Her mother had to do it. So Angela was never able to become mature enough to resolve conflict. She couldn't resolve any conflict. I mean, I've seen the scenes with her daughter. Her daughter doesn't seem overly disrespectful. It sounds like what her daughter is doing is making choices for her life that maybe her mother or father doesn't like, and she's trying to draw boundaries, and Angela's having a problem with it. And so Angela's kind of the one throwing a tantrum. To me, Angela's kind of, I think she's emotionally immature. I'm going to say it. I think she's emotionally immature. And maybe that's where that quick tongue comes about. Because as you mature emotionally, you probably hold your tongue a lot more and your tongue doesn't become as quick. But when you're immature and you have no discipline over your tongue, then probably anything can come out of it and it can really sting. Angela has an undisciplined tongue. I think she's emotionally immature. I really do. But anyway, as we move on, they were trying to fashion this trip after the traders. It's also a birthday celebration for Phaedra. And we got to see a little bit of the TikTok guy, the Black Scottish guy, the Black Scots. That's been a phenomenon on TikTok. And everybody was ooh, crooning all over him and everything. And we find out that Shamia got the role in Pinky's movie. Bravo to you, Shamia. Bravo to you. And even in that moment, even Angela couldn't let it lie. And she said, we all should get a cameo. We know Shamia likes the spotlight, but soon as Shamia gets a little bit of spotlight, a little bit of breathing room, there's Angela to come put her foot on her neck to try to snuff it out. You guys can call it whatever you want. You can call it jealousy. You can call it, after a while, it doesn't even really matter the way why a person treats you horribly. You just know that they do. You just know that they do. And Shamia is well aware that there are a lot of women on this show that don't want her there. And although Shamia isn't perfect, although Shamia does a lot of things wrong, it does not warrant the type of bullying and incessant piling on of Shamia that I see. I don't. I don't get it. Kelly's over here crying, talking about fighting with her ex. And I'm thinking to myself, Kelly, what are you fighting about? What are you fighting about? Another person who misrepresents. What are you fighting about? The divorce is final. Everything's done, from what I believe. What she's fighting over is the ability for her kids to film. Who's that for, Kelly? Is it your kids who, I just want to film, I just want to film, I just want to film? Or are you doing that for yourself so you can get a check? I think it's the latter, right? Why keep stuff going with your husband if he's so contentious, if he's just hard to deal with and everything? Um, why your kids got to film? Ain't nobody else's kids really filming. You don't see Cynthia Bailey's daughter filming a lot. You don't even see Phaedra's kids in too many scenes. No one, you don't see Portia's daughter in these scenes. So why, Kelly, are you willing to keep all this going with your husband? According to you, is just to get the rights for your kids to film because of the money. She, Kelly does everything for money. She's getting free pro bono services from Phaedra. She's getting a free place to live from Shamia, right? And now what she wants to do is insist that these kids film. You know what? We don't really need to see Kelly's kids. It's just a way to get another check. That's all it is. It's exploitation. Like I said, Kelly's a user. And I hate when people try to wrap things they do to say as if they're caring for you. Just like I said with Angela, you're not protecting your daughter. Your daughter got a compliment when Shamia said, you're nice. That's a compliment. You were protecting yourself. Just like Kelly saying, I'll do anything to protect my children. You're not protecting your children, fighting for them to be on this toxic show, Real Housewives of Atlanta. In fact, kids shouldn't be watching this show. This show is so toxic and so crazy. You need to be at least 21 to watch this show. This show is toxic. Why do you want to fight for your kids to be on Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kelly? You're not protecting them. And then, when we started to get into this Angelier, she was calling around asking for dirt on Shamia. She got caught red-handed. And I was so glad that other lady called in and cleared it up. Red-handed. But even when she called the girl on the phone, she tried to wiggle out in front of Phaedra and Portia. And they both knew the truth. But Portia really couldn't say anything because she knows that Angela is her lapdog, right? Angela is her pit bull. Angela is doing the dirty work that Portia, I think, really wants to happen, which is I don't think she wants uh, Shamia on the show. I don't. I really don't. And then I tell you, Portia, boy, she shows who she is at every moment. When they started talking about this George Crash for Cash guy, what was the first question out of Portia's mouth? Oh, is he married? Oh, is he married? Yeah, he's married. Now, I guess maybe people think she was asking that in terms of because the conversation was about sleeping with him. No, I don't think it was about that. I think it was because when they started talking about that man, talking about how he had a lot of money and he's on every billboard and cash, 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 That's when Portia decided she wanted to find out his marital status, right? And remember, this is all being filmed before she's knee deep in it with her lesbian relationship with Sway. And so I think Portia just looks for men that have money. I'm starting to believe all the stories. I'm not starting to, I believe them. I believe all the stories about Portia, that Portia sleeps with men to lure them in sexually with her body for money. And now she's willing to expand it to women. That's what I believe. Later on, she starts talking about she understands Kelly protecting her children with a place to live. I can understand, Kelly, how you feel when your home is ripped from you. And Portia tried to act like it was the same situation with her and Simon. It's not the same, Portia. Kelly was married for 15 years in that house. They were married for 15 years. He's the father of those children. He raised those children. You were with Simon Gobadia for 1 year. You even had your own house. So to liken Simon trying to get you out of his house to what Kelly had to go through in terms of moving out of her marital home and family home and being homeless or housing is unstable is not the same as yours. But Portia tried to act like I get it. I'm trying to protect my daughter too, so she doesn't have to move in the house she was raised in. That daughter wasn't raised in that house, Portia. Like I said, every time people try to act like they're doing something good for someone else, I want everybody to look deep because what they're doing it for is themselves. Portia was not trying to say, hold on to that Simon Gobadia house for her daughter. She was trying to hold on it to for herself. Her daughter did not live in that home that long. So once again, this is not the same. This is not apples to apples, Portia. It's not oranges to oranges. It's apples to oranges, right? But Portia said, is he married? Is he married? Girl, yeah, he's married. He ain't somebody you can go over there and get for that money. I really believe that Portia's using this Sway lady for money. I do. Maybe she wants, I know that Sway lady does salon suites. I don't know if Portia wants to sign a deal where all the salon suite, weave makers or whatever they buy here from Go Naked Hair. I don't know. But this Sway lady, she seems like she really in love with Portia. I tell you, when Portia gets with a person, no matter who they are, they fall deeply in love with Portia. Portia, if she really want to make some money, maybe that's the training she should do. Talk about teaching people to be salon suite owners. Maybe Portia needs to do a school about how to entice people, charm people to get them to give you all their money and make them feel. When I see that Sway lady hugging on Portia and everything, Portia be trying to have to, it's all sexual. Okay. Anybody out there got a man, anybody out there got a boyfriend or husband, when you go out and you take pictures, are all your pictures with your man about him, about being overly sexual? Are you always promoting the sex between you and your partner? No, but if you ever watch Sway and Portia, that's what they promote. They never just take pictures like regular couples. No, it's always real sexual, right? It's like almost like their whole relationship is based off of sex. Like I don't understand normal couples when they take pictures when they're interacting, it's not all about a sexual nature, but if you look at Portia and Sway, every picture they take, everything they do is always sexual content. It always is. So that's why I don't really believe in the sort of what is this relationship based on? I think it's based on sex and money. And every bit of money this Sway lady has, I think she is in love with Portia. And I think she's going to try to give Portia everything Portia wants and needs. And Portia is a receiver. She will keep receiving and receiving until you are bled dry. And then she will move on to the next person. And I just hope that Portia doesn't leave this Sway lady dried up like a prune because this Sway lady, her nose is wide open. You could tell. It's wide, wide open. And just like Portia was with Simon Go Biden and everyone, she's doing it, she's living it up. I believe the stories that Simon was what erectile dysfunction. I believe that too. So many rumors out here. I'll tell you which ones I believe. I believe he did have a sexual incompetent problem. And I think that's what led to both his previous wife, Fallon, whatever her name, cheating on him. And I think it's also what led to Portia sleeping with other people while they were married or whatever. I believe she did. I think he couldn't perform in the bedroom. I do. And being as sexual as Portia, I think Portia is a very sexual person, a very sexual being. Just like she said at this little event, She goes, now everybody can go to their room and masturbate. See? It's always on her brain. Sex is always on the mind of Portia, right? Every conversation is about sex. Even when she told the ladies, hey, we assigned you rooms, your names are on the doors. Now you can go there and masturbate. It's always about sex. I think she's a very sexual person. So I think it was difficult for her to be in a relationship with a man and not have that sort of sexual connection. And now she's with this sway lady. And hey, all this kitty cat licking they was talking about who's been with a woman. What do you think Portia is? You think Portia is the one that's doing it on Sway, or Sway's doing it on Portia? Sway's doing it on Portia. Portia's sitting there and leaning back, receiving, having a good time, having a good time. But yeah, Angela's just weird, y'all. She's weird. Like how far she took this, the depth of the lie. There were just so many parts of it that I really saw Angelia differently, right? Even her reads, I don't think her reads are gonna be the same anymore. Like before, they were funny. I was like, "Ooh, Angela, she went in all my other videos. She know how to knock these ladies down." I think now it's gonna be sad to watch her when she starts reading people, because now I'm gonna know what's behind the read. It's like you ever go out with a person and y'all turn up, both of y'all had a little bit too much to drink, but you have a good time, you laughing and everything, giggling, having a good time. It's all fun. And then as you go out with them more and more, you start to realize, wait a minute, this isn't just about having a cocktail when we go out and getting a little tipsy. You got a drinking problem. You an alcoholic. It just feels different. Like, can you enjoy your time anymore with that person knowing they got a serious drinking problem, when before you think it's about all fun and games? That's how I think about Angela now. When she was reading everybody, it was funny, it was entertaining. But now I think when I see her do it, I'm gonna look at her like, ooh, you just deep into your trauma and toxicity right now, and I don't think it's gonna be funny anymore. I mean, she's accused and Shamia of sleeping with the Hawks, the Falcons, and now some crash for cash man. Talking about she extrapolated that belief system from "you so fine, I had to pay her." What a leap! What a leap! What a leap, Angela. So even your thinking, your rationale tells me you're weird, right? Not only was the statement a lie, but you're explaining how you got to your conclusion that from a person saying she's so fine, I had to pay her, knowing that he has given her a check for a charity. You then took that comment and says, oh, it means that he slept with her. You're weird. Your rationale is not that tells me your mind is not stable. You don't really have good critical thinking. You don't have good logic. There's a lot of things going on with you. Like I said, and when a person doesn't have rational thinking, when they don't have a level of empathy, they're not a safe space because they're unpredictable, right? So if you have something sensitive to talk about, something in which you're not quite sure about or comfortable with, like her daughter, like why would you go talk to Angela? She would be the last person on the list that you would talk about. You would talk about. But Portia tried to tell her it's done, Angela, we can dead it. So then finally, she tried to, lay it down a little bit, and she's still running around calling Shamia Portia's lapdog. That's old. At this point, I'm starting to believe, Angela, you're Portia's lapdog. Be honest with you. I'm really starting to believe that you are Portia's lapdog. Um, but we got a little doozer. We found out that Pinky was in a lesbian relationship for a couple of years. I mean, once she told us, was anybody really surprised? No. I didn't predict it, right? But once she told me, I was like, I can see it. I can see it. Pinky's got a lot of alpha female energy, a lot of alpha female energy. So, and we can see even when in her relationship with her husband, like she said, she liked to really do everything on her own. So, yeah, I think at this point, Atlanta, I want to say Atlanta, all of the uh, LGBTQIA, the robust community in Atlanta, is it all nurture, like people were born with attraction, or is some of it is it I'm sorry, is it all nature, where most people were born with the attraction to multiple sexes, or is it nurtured? You see, I live in LA and people always say LA is fake. Like everybody in LA is fake, fake. But being born and raised in LA, what I can tell you is that a lot of the fake people in LA actually are people who moved here. They're not actually people who were born here, right? So a lot of ways, the uh, whatever it is about Hollywood and how people view LA, it also attracts a lot of fake people. They come here and they want to be fake. They want to be actors, put on. So yeah, you get a lot of fake people in LA, but a lot of those people were lured to the city, but they were already fake. They were fake in other places, Kentucky, Alabama. But what they felt was, hey, I need to go to a state where my fakeness is more accepted. And what I hear, that's LA. So I'll come there. So then you get fake people. Where are all my people from LA, from California? We know how to weed them out because we can spot them, right? Um, I wonder if that's Atlanta. Is Atlanta now just attracting a lot more LGBTQ people, or is it so that's what I'm saying. And then is it becoming nurtured, right? So just like in LA, you can nurture the fakeness. There's so much this Hollywood, there's a glitz. It nurtures fakeness, right? Because of what's around you, it actually promotes it, it supports it, it encourages it. So you would have to be a person that is not susceptible to it, because if you're susceptible to being fake in LA, you will become fake too, right? You could be nature, come here looking for it, or what can happen is you can turn fake because it's so much around you, it starts to sort of turn you into a fake person. Is that Atlanta? That some people move there because it's comfortable, because that's where they find their community. It's not as much judgment. But then along the way, some people are also nurtured into this lifestyle, because to hear all of these ladies comment, and what was the one that really, I mean, we heard about Pinky, we heard about K Michelle, but I think the ones that really, really bothered me the most was Drew and Kelly. Now, Drew, I don't believe. I think Drew is already nurtured into that lifestyle. And for her to say it was all her husband, Ralph Pittman, don't believe it. I believe, based on what I've seen, I think she also enjoyed it. She liked it, right? So to say she put it all on Ralph Pittman, I don't believe it. But it could have been a nurtured thing that came, right? It may not be her nature. It may not be how she was born or how she felt without the nurturing of it being in that climate in Atlanta. But so I didn't like, I think Drew was lying, right? But it was interesting to hear how so many of these ladies, Kelly also chiming in, that they did it to support their marriages because their husbands wanted it. Now, first of all, Kelly's husband, he should have been lucky enough to have one woman, period. Because let me tell you, there'd be no way that I would grant my husband, who looked like Kelly's husband, a second woman. I'm about to call him an MF. You better be happy you got one woman. You think you deserve two with your looks? Mm-mm. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. You know. But to hear her say that she participated in it just to please her husband, all what, for a marriage? Y'all going too far. That's why I think that that city, Atlanta, I don't even want to say it's the whole city of Georgia, because I don't think it is the whole city of Georgia. I think it's Atlanta. It nurtures it, and it makes things become normal that just aren't normal anywhere else. It's just not normal. It's not that common. I know people want to make everyone else in the world believe that it's normal, that wives are consenting to have threesomes with husbands. It's not the norm. But I think in Atlanta, they make people think it's the norm. So then when your husband comes to you, you're like, oh, yeah. Just like Atlanta made it seem like normal for men to go to strip clubs all the time. You come to LA, honestly, yeah, we got prostitution on the street. We got all kind of things in Atlanta. I mean, LA, you get things, but there aren't a whole lot of strip joints like you be seeing in Atlanta, other places. You just don't see it. You know, the club life in LA ain't nothing like it is nowhere else. LA clubs be shutting down at what, 1:30, 2 o'clock? It's just not the same. Um, yeah, it was just sad to see. And then to hear Kay Michelle's story about how she turned gay because she thought maybe it would be an easier relationship, but then she found out she was just treated just as horribly in a lesbian relationship as she was in a heterosexual one. So then she left it alone. So that's what I'm saying, is it nature or nurtured? Right? Because if it's your nature, like, how do you just flip back and forth like this? Sounds like you go with wherever you believe you can get what you want. And that's what I think a lot of it is. People just want to be loved. Everybody just wants to be loved. And people are getting to the point where I don't mind if it's a woman who loves me or a man who loves me or whoever loves me. I get that because people want to be loved. They want to be cared for. They want to have a person that they can call when things go bad, a person they can rely upon. Because I don't think we were made to be alone. I don't. I don't think we were made to be alone. I think we all crave in some way that person in our life. And some people have decided that if that person comes in the body of a female, and I'm a female, I'd rather have that than to be alone. And some people say, well, I'd rather be alone than to do that. To each his own. Some people say, I'd rather deal with a guy who does this and that and this and that than I. Everybody, that's why everybody says, married people settle. Everybody's settling. Some people are settling being with a woman, even though their preference is a man. But because a lot of men out here aren't showing up the way we want them to show up, women are settling for other women. Some married people are settling for spouses or mates or putting up with things that maybe they don't think they should, like bringing in other women to the bedroom. And a lot of people, single people who are alone, are settling for being alone by themselves because I think if they had their choice would be to be with someone who loves them and cares for them, is a partner for them. And what they decide to do is, I'd rather settle and be alone than have to deal with it. Everybody settles. That's why I don't really agree with that term, because it makes it believe like I'm settling and you're not. You settling. You settling. You may not be settling the same kind of way I'm settling, but you are settling nonetheless. But yeah, Angeliah, girl, you done turn me, you done turn me away from you. It ain't funny no more. It's just weird. It really is weird. And then we see this little blurb that Kelly's husband is suing Bravo or whomever for $200 million. He ain't gonna win that. He ain't gonna win that. But I tell you what's gonna happen is they ain't gonna put your kids on that show. He's gonna be effective enough that he gonna stop your kids from being on the show. Is he gonna get 200 million? No, but he's gonna be effective enough to do what you don't want him to do. And she says, I'm just trying to protect my kids. You're not trying to protect your kids to be on this show. This show is not a safe space. How is fighting to have your kids on Real Housewives of Atlanta protection? Kelly, get the hell out of here. But Kelly finally realized that I better get on the winning team, and that winning team is with Porsche. That's where the winning team is. And so she said, let me make good with Porsche because Shamia is going down. Kelly sees that Shamia is going down. Now, I'll be willing to live in this house for a little bit, but Shamia gonna lose this fight. It's too many people ganging up on her. And Kelly wants to secure her spot on this show for next season. So what she's realizing is, listen, Shamia, you a sinking ship. Or even if you're not sinking, you're not stable. But Portia, she's stable. Phaedra's going to be stable. Cynthia Bailey, you're going to be stable. So I'm going to hitch my wagon back to Portia because let me tell you something. If I don't get renewed on Real Housewives of Atlanta next year, I'm going to be in big, big trouble because this Nana's Chicken and Waffles is not paying the bills, not paying the bills whatsoever. And this idea of me getting with a rich man, a rich African, I might can do it. But what I might have to do to get that money, I might have to sell my soul for it. I'm really going to have to sell my soul for it, especially once he sees that you were willing to bring in another woman with that first husband, and that first husband looks horrible, horrible. So if you was willing to do that for that man, what you going to be willing to do for a rich African girl? Talk about a lapdog. Talk about, remember who's a lapdog. Kelly going to be a lapdog to some man because she's desperate. You can see the desperation written all over her. She's desperate in every area. She's desperate for money. She's just desperate. She's got it written all over her. People are going to be able to come up to her and command their price. They're going to have a high ability to leverage against Kelly because Kelly can't say no to too many things. She can't even really afford a roof over her house. She can't afford an attorney. She can't afford anything. She gonna have to give up a lot in any type of negotiation, especially when it comes with a man. Unfortunately. But anyway, that's all I got to talk about, y'all, for my Real Housewives of Atlanta. I said a lot. I sure did say a lot right before this July 4th holiday. Hope y'all have a wonderful holiday, and I'll come back and talk to y'all more. But before I leave, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I rarely ask for people to subscribe, but I'm going to ask you, don't forget to subscribe, hype the video, and then also leave a comment down below. So not only can I read what y'all wrote, y'all can read what each other wrote. It's very interesting down in the comment section. Very interesting. Anyway, that's all I got. Talk to y'all later. Bye.